Oh, you didn't hear? Apparently life in Honolulu isn't very good, and it's actually been on the decline for the past 13 years. At least that's what a recent survey found. I know that Honolulu, and by extension Waikiki, has this image of this great place to live. And don't get me wrong, Hawaii, Honolulu, Oahu, it's a great place to live. I'm very thankful and appreciative to have grown up here, been raised here, as well as I can live here right now. But I love the idea that they interviewed local people on the quality of life, because I think it's actually a better representation of what life is like here rather than what you see on Instagram or on YouTube or in magazine ads. So I'm gonna go over some of the findings in this video, what normal people think about life in Honolulu. It's not about bashing Honolulu or Oahu, it's really just about noticing some of the trends and talking about what that may mean. There's a link to the report if you want to learn more about what local people think about what it means to live here in Honolulu. The overall findings of the report indicate that the quality of life in Honolulu has gotten worse in the past 13 years. The report outlined people's responses to certain quality of life questions from 2006 all the way through 2019. And with that, we're able to kind of see the trends and perspective that people have as time goes on. Today, 54% of Honolulu residents surveyed indicated that the quality of life in Honolulu is positive. It's a good thing. And if you think about it, 54% is more than half, so that's a great thing. But when you realize that that figure used to be 77%, that's kind of a big drop. That's 23%, or about 1 in every 4 people who have changed their minds and think that life in Honolulu for them has gotten worse. For me personally, if I had to grade the quality of life in Honolulu, I give it a C-, which gives it a lot of room for improvement. You know, some good things. You know, I got family here, the weather is nice, you know, it's local culture, but there's a lot of things that are challenging. Of course, I've talked about a lot of these in my previous videos. So I don't think I can give it quite an A+, but I think a C-, it's respectable. Another surprising finding was that less people think that Honolulu is a great place to retire or to raise children. Only 39% of people surveyed believe that Honolulu is a great place to retire, and that's down from 68% in 2006. And only 53% of the people surveyed believe that Honolulu is a great place to raise your kids, whereas it used to be 71% in 2006. I would probably rate Honolulu in terms of a great place to retire as an A if you don't have to worry about housing. So if you are 100% retired, you got a lot of money and you can buy your home or never have to worry about housing costs again, I think Hawaii would definitely be an A. But if you do have to worry about housing costs, I think retiring in Hawaii would be an F. I think things get a little more complicated for me in rating whether Honolulu is a good place to raise kids. If you can afford to send your kids to private school and you have family here locally, I think it's an A. If you can't afford to send your kids to private school and they have to go to public school, but you do have family here in Honolulu, I think life would be maybe a C. And of course, if you can't afford to send your kids to private school and they have to go to public school, and you don't have family here in Honolulu, I think it's gonna be like a D. I think it's extremely hard to raise kids in Hawaii without extended family. You may meet Hanai family members and they can help out, but without actual relatives like grandparents, uncles, aunties, I think it's really hard. It's one of the biggest advantages that local people have in raising kids versus their out-of-state peers. 76 of Honolulu residents surveyed believe that Honolulu is a great place to visit, which I totally agree with. Hawaii is a great place to visit in the short term because the weather is great, you can absorb all of those costs, and life is just nice here. However, in the long term, I think things get a little more difficult, which is why I think only 53% of the residents surveyed would likely recommend Honolulu as a place to live. Great place to visit, not so great place to live. But the most striking response to me was that 24% of people surveyed said that it was somewhat unlikely or very unlikely that they would remain in Honolulu in the next 5 years. So what does that mean for Oahu? Well, that means that with a population of about 1 million people, even if you lost 20% of that, that's a lot of people leaving the state in 5 years. And yes, of course, more people will come into Hawaii and, you know, babies will be born. But when you lose that many people in that short amount of time, I feel like you're losing the essence or the fabric of the culture that makes Hawaii so unique. The report was really comprehensive and I talked about a lot of different things. But the last thing I want to talk about is safety and what people's perception is on safety in Honolulu. Of those surveyed, only 46% had an overall feeling of safety, which basically means half the people don't feel too safe. However, 83% of the people surveyed feel safe in their own community, which I think is an important finding. 46% don't feel safe overall in Honolulu, but in their own communities, they feel safe. Really, I wish that 100% of people here could feel safe all the time. With that discrepancy between the safety feelings between outside and inside your local community, I feel like that's a positive thing. Because what it indicates is that people feel safe in their neighborhoods, in these small little pockets and communities, they tend to feel safer, which I think is a great thing. And what makes Hawaii so special is that you get to know people, you're connected to others who aren't necessarily even related to you. There's that closeness with that lady down the street or that neighbor who shares their mangoes with you. And I think that's what makes Hawaii so unique and special. So even though people in general are thinking that the quality of life in Honolulu has actually gone down, it's really nice to see, or at least through the indication of this survey, that people are actually trying to hold on to those unique parts of what makes Hawaii, Hawaii. And of course, a lot of things have changed since 2006. Don't want to ignore those possibilities in any of this. Social media has definitely played a role in our happiness. Personally, I think it's hurt our happiness, but others may argue that it has increased our happiness. But it may not be all made up. In fact, a recent survey found that Honolulu is the most stressed city to live in. So just know that we're stressed. So again, Honolulu and by extension Hawaii is a great place to live, but it's pretty tough here. So thanks for watching and aloha.